Oh, it was frozen for a second. Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm standing out here outside my massage therapist's office for a couple of reasons. There's one thing about midwifery care, about really truly taking care of you and making sure that you're healthy and your mind, body, and spirit to prepare for your delivery. So I am not only getting myself a massage, but one of my clients is here with me, and we're just going to make it a fun day to prepare for her birth and get those final things taken care of so that she can bring her baby earthside. But when I posted the video yesterday, I think it was Melissa asked to talk a little bit about breastfeeding and how to prepare, especially for a first-time mom. I remember as a first-time mom, I was not prepared for the struggles that came with breastfeeding, and I had no idea how difficult it could be. So that is an excellent question, and I'm really glad that you asked me to address that. So a couple of things about breastfeeding is it's an art. It's just like sculpting or oil painting, that the first time you pick it up, you're not going to master it. It's not going to be something that's just like flows to you like breathing. And I think that's the mistake that we make in the beginning, is we think that it's so natural that we should just know how to do it. And so whether this is your first baby or your 7th baby or your 8th baby, doesn't really matter, because you may have learned how to do it, but the baby still has to learn. So give yourself a little bit of grace, give yourself a little bit of patience, and understand that breastfeeding takes time and it takes a little bit of practice. The best thing you can do is find somebody who is a veteran breastfeeding mom and say, sit down with me and let's figure out what's going on, and let's see what we can do. Some of those veteran moms may have found some tricks to alleviate some issues, and some may be just as confused and as befuddled as you are. So ask again and again and again until you find somebody who can really help you. But a couple of things to remember: when you first have your baby, the milk that's available is called colostrum. It's as thick and dense and highly concentrated as Karo syrup. So when baby latches on, it's going to take some real suction for baby to get some out. But the benefit of that density is the baby only needs a teeny tiny bit in order to sustain them during those first 3 days. So their tummy is just micro small, like the size of a grape. And so you don't need to worry about filling them up with a bunch of volume. You basically just need to make sure that they're eating frequently enough, because that high calorie, high nutrient colostrum will sustain them. So first of all, take a breather and enjoy that time. Enjoy the time when you're so exhausted from laboring and birth that you just really just want to sleep all the time. So this is the time where it's really not unrealistic to say sleep when baby sleeps. So you got your colostrum for those first couple of days, and then your milk comes in. And this is the point where I want to talk a little bit about it, because milk management is really important to a healthy breastfeeding relationship. Some women feel like when their milk first comes in, they're like Dolly Parton. They're just huge and engorged, and they've got so much milk, and there's a few party tricks that we can talk about when you squeeze your biceps and then your milk squirts out, and it's real. So but some people don't have that, so managing and knowing what to do for your breasts during that stage is really, really important. So one of the things I actually tell moms to do is take their fingers and actually walk around their breasts during the breastfeeding session, so that they can become familiar with a possible clog or a slow area or a point that looks like it may be filling up faster than another, and being familiar with that by just walking around the breast every single time the baby is eating. And then when you notice a spot, you'll hit a spot that may be tender. It might be tender because your milk is letting down at that moment, but it might be tender because you have a little bit of a clog. So you take your fingertips and you're just going to make a circular motion and just keep moving downwards towards the areola and kind of massage that down. If that doesn't work, then use some warm compress. And one of my favorite tricks is actually get in the bath or the shower, let that hot water... Okay, now it's back. Sorry, it froze for a second. Let that hot water soften the tissue. And actually, if you take a pump, like a hand-operated pump in the bath with you while your milk is flowing and all of, it's just kind of one of those overwhelming moments, take that opportunity to kind of pump some out. We don't need to pump a whole bunch out so that your breasts are empty. We need to pump out just enough to give relief, because there's like a fine balance between pumping so that, oh, that feels so good, my breasts are empty, and then we all know that supply and demand happens. So you've just demanded a whole bunch of excess milk, and that's where we get into kind of this oversupply kind of a conundrum. It's a cycle. You pump because it made it feel good, and then you made excess milk, and so then you're filled up more, and then you pump because it needs to feel good, and then you go back and forth. So there's just kind of the fine balance that while you're doing that, just be really kind of only pump out as much as you need to kind of get relief, and spend frequent amounts of times in that warm compress with a bath or a shower or whatever feels good. A couple of tricks that you can do. If you find a spot that's really tender, that looks red, that might be the start of mastitis. And so I always take a little bit of castor oil, the same yucky stuff that people try to induce labor with, and or Digest Zen oil that has fennel in it, and you massage that on the spot. And it may hurt for a second, but it's going to feel better to get that knot kind of worked out. So massage that with your fingers, again, walking it, giving it a little bit of massage towards the areola, and just try to work that spot out. Another thing is position of baby. If you guys Google the search term laid back breastfeeding, probably one of the most mind-boggling changing experiences I've ever had is to nurse my 8th baby during the laid back breastfeeding pose. And it was something that I really wasn't familiar with, even with all the women that I've helped. So laid back breastfeeding basically gives us the opportunity to have all of our muscles in our shoulders and our back all fully supported, so that we're not rolled over, we're not rolling our shoulders up, we're not hunched, and it makes the whole breastfeeding experience better. But it also makes it so that the milk can let down and flow more freely because our muscles are not tense. And sometimes our muscles are tense because there's a latch problem, and sometimes the muscles are tense because we're rolled over and we're trying to hold and support baby, and we're trying to support our breasts, and we're trying to do all those things. So the laid back breastfeeding actually eliminates a lot of those problems. So if you'll find those videos and watch a few of them, there's a couple of different poses. There's recline, and there's side lying, and there's, you know, it makes a really big difference. So give those a watch and see what you think about that. Another thing is using old school. We were all taught, you know, when I had my first baby 20 some odd years ago, we were taught to hold our breasts with our fingertips to kind of control and manipulate the nipple. So nowadays we're going to really encourage C hands. So you have both your right hand and your left hand are in a C shape, and you're going to hold the breast in a cupping shape and hold the baby's head in the other hand in the same C shape, so that you have a little more control over that tissue, and so that you're not compressing as milk is letting down, you're not compressing or creating a pinching sensation as the baby is latching on. One thing to remember is it may be hard for you to see yourself, but if you had somebody else take a look at the baby as they're latched on, and you make sure that their lips are flanged, and I'm going to look like a fish for a second. So you want to see their top lip and their bottom lip flanged out. That's a good sign of a latch. The other thing is baby's tongue is going to come thrust out, and it's going to be in a cupping shape. So you're going to have a cupped tongue, flanged lips, and that's going to be a fairly good indication that you're going to get baby on as a good latch. The other thing is making sure that that baby is not slurping like spaghetti. So when they slurp like spaghetti, they take the tip of the nipple and they suck it in just like spaghetti. What I tell people is don't slurp like spaghetti, chomp like a hamburger. So you want to see that baby's mouth go, and the tongue will cup, lips will flange, and that's a better latch. So really, you won't be able to remember all of these tips because you're going to be in a little bit of a brain fog, because that's what postpartum is. You're tired, you've got hormones just flushing through your system. So just be prepared, talk to some people that you are surrounded with. Find somebody that is, excuse me, a breastfeeder veteran, somebody who can kind of walk you through those things. If you don't have anybody, reach out to me. We can do video chat if you're not local. If you are local, I've got quite a few connections that can help you find that support, because getting that latch figured out in the first will eliminate and alleviate a lot of the problems that people have later on that kind of make it so that we quit breastfeeding. We quit because it's painful or because we're frustrated, we feel like the baby is not getting enough. And a lot of those things can be taken care of when we're in that first 3 days and just kind of like figure out management for our breasts and management for our milk supply. So don't believe everything you hear about breastfeeding, but believe everything I say. Just kidding. I'm not always right. I do tell my kids that I'm always right. Oh, Leah, thank you for pointing that out. That is something that we do. If you have a hard time, baby is not getting a good cupping and you're not seeing a good flange on their lips, then take your nipple in that C shape and kind of manipulate that nipple so it's pointing to the roof of your mouth. That's going to bring more opportunity for baby's tongue to cup under that breast and get a hold of it and bring it in. So thank you for reminding me about that, Leah. If anybody else has any questions, let me know. We'll talk a little bit more about breastfeeding. I did write an article and it's on my website, Breastfeeding and Managing Your Milk Supply. And basically it kind of goes through all the possible issues that we have with an oversupply, an undersupply, a latch issue, all those sorts of things are kind of listed on there. So if you guys have any specific problems, you can look at that, or always reach out to me. And in a few minutes here I'm going to go in for my turn at the massage therapist, Jennifer Anderson, Tachi Massage. Seriously guys, she's got magic fingers. So if you need a massage, I will hook you up with her contact information. Okay, you guys all have a blessed morning. Thanks for visiting with me. It's good to see everybody. Amy, Joyce, Chloe, let's see, Devin, Vanessa, Tracy, Stephanie, Liesel, Molly, and my brother Seth. So way to be a supportive dad for your breastfeeding wife. You're awesome. Love you, bro.